Okay, Hope, I'm going to attempt to make you a quick little video to go over some of the questions on the study guide that I feel like you might have trouble with. I don't think I have time to go over all of them in this video, but I'll do a few. And then tomorrow morning, if you want to come by my room, or sometimes I'm down the hall at that door, you can ask me about any of the other ones. Okay, so let me just go through a few of them that I circled that I thought you might struggle with. I looked at number 2 because it has to do with this big chart. It says Roma is studying the growth of mold spores on a piece of bread as shown on the table above. She puts 4 spores on the piece of bread and records the number of spores over time. So you see number of hours, so here's your time. She records the result over 12 hours. So notice 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. And notices a pattern. See, here's the number of spores, and you can probably see the pattern in the 3s. Predict the number of mold spores growing after 18 hours. Okay, so there's a lot of information here, but let's try to add to this chart. There's 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. Notice that each of these is going up by 3 hours. So the next number on the chart would be 12 plus 3 more hours, which would be 15 hours. And then the next number on the chart would be 3 more hours, which would be this 18 hours. Okay? Well, let's notice the pattern in the 3s. There's 2 3s, then 3 3s, 4 3s, 5 3s. 15 hours would be 6 3s, and 18 hours would be 7 3s. So I'm going to write down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember, those dots just means you're multiplying. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? You can type all this in your calculator. That would be the answer for 18 hours. Okay, but remember a shortcut to typing in your calculator. If you have 3s written like this and there are 7 of them, that's the same as 3 raised to the 7th power. Okay, so in your calculator you can type it either way, but 3 to the 7th power is quicker to type in. So notice the way you would type that would be 3, and use that little button, raised to the 7th power, and hit equals, and there's your answer, 2,187. So it would be this one. Okay, so notice we had to make sure we got to 18, so 15, 18, and then how many 3s that would be. Okay, the next one I thought you might have trouble with. These you just type exactly in your calculator the way you see it. This one, what steps should be performed first? Remember, in order of operations, parentheses first. So you would do this part first. So that's the answer. You don't have to do anything. Okay? This was the next one that I thought you might struggle with. Write 5 less than 8 1/2 times the number of acres of land Samantha has as an algebraic expression. Use A as your variable for acres. Okay? Now, whenever you see 5 less than, that means you're taking 5 away from something. Okay? So if I said like 5 less than 10, that means you're taking 5 away from 10. Or 10 minus 5. So whatever this expression is, you should have a minus 5. I'm taking 5 away from something. Now what am I taking it away from? 8 1/2 times the number of acres. So 8 1/2 times A. So I would write it like that. So that we just look for that as our answer. And notice it would be this one. Okay, taking 5 away from 8 1/2 times A. Okay, the next one I thought you might struggle with is number 7. It says evaluate each algebraic expression when P is 1/5, Q is 3/10, tenths, and R is 2.8. And I should have said this at the beginning, by the way, but I would, try each of these by yourself and then watch the video and see if you did it right, or pause the video and work and then watch some and work some more. Okay. But anyway, you might have known that anyway, but, okay. 4P, which means 4 times P, plus 2 times Q. Okay, and again, when it says evaluate, that means they want the answer to each of these. Okay, so again, you can type these in your calculator, you just have to know how to do that. This means 4 times P. So over here, I'm going to write what you would type in your calculator. 4 times P. Now, in your calculator, you can use parentheses or you can do this. Okay, they mean the same thing. Okay, 4 times P plus 2 times Q. Now, Q is 3/10. Okay, you can do this also. Okay, you can type it either way. Your calculator knows what to do. 4 times a fifth plus 2 times 3/10. So if we type that in, 4 times 2ABC5 plus, okay, 4, I'm gonna have to look. Oh, I was wrong, it was 1/5. Okay, 4 times 1/5 plus 2 times 3/10. Okay, and then hit enter, and we get 1 2/5. So we would just put the answer, because it says to evaluate. 1 2/5. I'll circle that. Okay, so let's look at part B. Okay, this is R over 7, or R divided by 7. Okay, in your calculator, you would type the division sign for that. Okay, I'll show you that in a second, but I'll write it like this. R is 2.8. So I'll just write it like this. R over 7 plus 3 parentheses. Notice I'm just following this. Q plus P. Q is 3/10 and P is 1/5. Now that's a lot of math right there, but you can just type it in your calculator. Okay, so let's notice how you do that. We have 2.8 over 7. Now I just typed the division sign right here. 2.8 divided by 7 plus 3 parentheses, 3/10, 3 ABC 10 plus 1 ABC 5. Enter. And the answer, notice they give it as a decimal, but that's okay. 1.9, or 1 9/10. Okay. The other one I thought you might have trouble with on this page is number 8. And actually there was a typo on this. I don't know if Miss Nicholson caught that. I know she corrected some of the mistakes on this quiz, but the expression for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, so it says find the area of the triangle if the base is 8.2 and the height is 12. Okay, so we would say 1/2 times, again, times can be put in parentheses. The base is 8.2 and the height is 12. 1/2 base times height. And then I just type that in. Okay, so 1 ABC2, 1/2. And then I can use parentheses or the times sign. 8.2 times 12. 49.2. And I'm going to put inches squared because it's the area. Okay, there's that one. Okay, on the next page, I figured number 9. There's a lot of words in number 9. Okay, it says Kyra has 18 daisies and 12 roses that she's using to make flower arrangements. Okay, remember you guys did this in the floor in class. You had two kinds of flowers, and you were supposed to put them together to make little arrangements for either corsages or vases or something. She wants to make the greatest possible number of arrangements with both types of flowers and wants each arrangement to have the same number of daisies and roses. Okay, it says list the factors of 18 and 12 in order from least to greatest. Okay, again, factors. Remember, we tried to get you to remember that big F as kind of a cue to remember. If I'm thinking about factors of 18, that's numbers that multiply to give me 18. 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Okay? And then it says put them in order. So notice 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18. Now, if you have trouble finding the factors, you can use your calculator and say you always know 1 times 18 as factors of a number. But then if you're not sure, say 18 divided by 2. Is 2 a factor? Yes. 2 times 9. Okay. Is 3 a factor? 18 divided by 3. Yes. 3 times 6 is a factor. Then say 18 divided by 4. Is that a factor? No, it doesn't come out as a whole number. So 4 is not a factor. 18 divided by 5, that's not a factor. And 6 I know is a factor because I have it right here, so I know I'm done. Okay? Now, I need factors of 12. So numbers that multiply to give me 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Okay? Then it says, what is the GCF of the number of daisies and roses? What is the greatest common factor? What factor do they have in common, and what's the biggest one, the greatest one? See, they have 1 in common, 2 in common, 3 in common, and 6. Well, 6 is the biggest. Okay? So the GCF is 6. Okay? So it says, how many will there be in each arrangement then? Okay? The 6 means you can make 6 arrangements of flowers. So if you have 18 daisies and you're putting them in 6 vases, for instance, that means 18 divided by 6, that means 3 daisies would go in each arrangement. Okay, I'm going to put a note there. I did 18 divided by 6. Well, how many roses would go in each vase? Well, I have 12 roses. If I'm having 6 vases, 12 divided by 6, that means I would put 2 roses in each one. So each vase, you got 6 vases, each vase would have 3 daisies and 2 roses. Okay. Number 10 also I thought might be challenging. Use the GCF to factor 45x plus 75. Okay. Factoring means you are dividing out what is in common with both of these terms. Okay. So you have to find out what's in common. So the best way to do that is to find the GCF. Okay. Now, the way we did it up here wasn't too hard because the numbers were small, but these two numbers are kind of big. Okay, so we showed you another way to do this, to find the GCF. So I'm going to show you that really quick, okay? 45, remember I said make those factor trees, okay? So you have to think, what times what is 45? Well, I know it's 5 times something, and if you're not sure, use your calculator. It's 5 times 9. And then 5 is prime. I can't break that down anymore, but I can break 9 down into 3 times 3. And 3s are prime, so I stop. So 45 is equal to 5 times 3 times 3. Okay, now I'm going to look at 75 for a second. Now 75 also divides by 5. Okay, you also might think about money. There's three quarters make 75 cents, so I might do it that way instead. 3 times 25 is 75, and 25 breaks down into 5 times 5. So 75 is equal to 3 times 5 times 5. Okay, a good way to find the GCF is circle numbers they have in common. Okay, so I see a 5 here, and I have a 5 here. I see a 3 in this number, and I see a 3 here. Now what is left? This one has a 3 and this one has a 5, so I can't circle that. So notice what they have in common. They both have a 3 and they both have a 5. So to find the GCF, I multiply 1 3 times 1 5. Okay? Have a 3, they have a 5, so the GCF is 15. Okay, now that means when you come over here, you're going to divide out a 15 from both of these terms. It's like you're doing the distributive property backwards. Okay? 15 times what would give me 45x? Well, in your calculator, you could do that. You could say, well, what's 45 divided by 15? Well, it's 3. Okay, so 3. And notice this first term has an x there. Okay, so let's look at that. 15 times 3x would give me 45x. Now I'm going to put a plus sign because there's one here. 15 times what would give me 75? Well, I can use my calculator for that. 75 divided by 15 is 5. So I would put a 5 right here. That is what factoring out is. It's dividing out a factor that's in common with both terms. So it's like distributive property backwards. Okay, number 11, we talked about this some today, but I wanted to make sure you understood. Look for the things in common, okay? You see an a squared, and I see another a squared. Those are alike, and I know you use some shapes. I'm going to put squares around those. Those are alike, okay? I can add them together. How many a squareds do I have? Well, I have 4 here, and I have 1 here, so that means I have 5 a squareds, okay? I'm just going to write that over here. Okay, now let's see what else I see that's in common. Well, I have a plain A, not with a little 2, but just a plain old A. I'm going to put a triangle. And I see another A. Okay, so 1A and 1A, I would have 2 A's. So I'm going to do that. And then what's left? A 5 and a 4. Plain old numbers. They're called constants. 5 plus 4 is 9. So that is as simplified as you can make that. You've added the things that are alike. Okay, so my answer would be this one. Okay, skip down to number 14. That's the next one I thought you might need help with. The prices per pound for various types of fish are listed in the table. Nadine needs to purchase 3 pounds of tilapia. Okay, and notice I love fish. I bet you do too because it's healthy. Okay, tilapia, salmon, and halibut, and this is their price per pound. Salmon's expensive. Okay, so that means for every pound of tilapia, you have to pay $3.35. She's getting 3 pounds of tilapia, okay? 1.5 pounds of salmon and 2/3 a pound of halibut. We're supposed to write an expression to represent the total cost for all the fish and then evaluate the expression to find the total. Okay, this is all you do for these. You say, okay, let's take one kind of fish at a time. Tilapia, 3 pounds times $3.35 a pound. So I'm just going to write that 3 times $3.35. Okay, I'm going to put that in parentheses so you see that that's the tilapia price for tilapia. Plus, I'm going to buy some salmon. Well, how much? 1.5 pounds. 1.5 pounds of salmon times $12.80 a pound. And I'm going to buy some halibut. 2/3 of a pound of halibut times $7.92 a pound. Okay, so there's your 3 kinds of fish. You can just type that in your calculator, Hope, just like you see I wrote it. Okay, so let's do that. 3 times 3.35. And notice I'm not even putting the parentheses. You don't have to. Your calculator knows to multiply, 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 and then add. But you can put them if you want to. Plus 1 ABC, 1 ABC2, 1.5 times $12.80 plus 2 ABC3, 2/3 times $7.92 and hit equals, and that gives you your answer. Somebody's coming here to check on me, I think. I'm in my husband's office right now. School just let out. I came in here to do this. $34.53. Okay. Just a couple more. I know this is long. This is like 20 minutes so far. This says we want to determine if these expressions are equivalent. Okay, I like to just simplify. Okay, so I drew a line down here. Simplify this. Okay, so let's look what's alike. X and an X. That's two X's. And then I just see a 1Y and a 2. Well, that's not like anything, so I just write them down. Well, let's look over here. Now, see, I have parentheses, but there's not anything sitting here. I don't have to distribute, so it's like I can ignore the parentheses. I have Y plus 3X plus 4 plus X. So do you see anything alike? I see X and X, so 3X and 1X is 4X, and a Y and a 4. So obviously these are not the same. They are not equal. Okay. On the last page, I'm going to tell you to skip number 18 because I read that and I'm like, I don't think they gave you enough to do that, so don't worry about that one. These were just properties. This one, look back at the fish problem. It's just like it. Okay. This one, they are just telling you, here's your expression. Put this in place of the N and this in place of the S. Okay? So 15 times N, well, N is 3/4, plus the S is 2.5. And then you just type that in your calculator. Okay? So 15, 3, ABC4, plus 2, ABC1, ABC2, 2.5. We get 13 3/4. Okay. Okay, and the last one I thought you might like to know, have help with, or check your work, or the properties. This one, if I look at that, I notice, wait a minute, anytime there's a number or letter outside of parentheses, I think distributive property, G times a third and G times a fourth. We'll come over here, look. G times a third, G times a fourth. That's the distributive property. And this one, let's notice that I have 5.8, 8.2, 4.1. Same terms, but notice there's parentheses. These two are grouped together on this side. Over here, the parentheses moved. Now these two are grouped. There's different groupings, but the value is going to stay the same because it's addition. Okay, when groups change, remember groups or associates, your friends or people you work with in your group, it's associative property. All right, that's all for right now. That was a lot, but if you have any other questions, come see me in the morning. Bye.